Hello, IGN. My name is Jose Otero, and you are looking at one of several really, really important images from the latest Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild trailer, which was called Life in Ruin. You'll see here who presumably Zelda dressed in adventure-like attire, which is just like, whoa, wait a minute, can you play as her? But then you also see Zelda in more regal attire, what we could assume is Zelda in her more princess like outfit. And then finally, who is this? We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just go right back to the beginning and kick this off. So, this was shown at the Game Awards, and it was led off with a lot of the symbolism that we've seen. You know, you see the Sheikah Eye passing on knowledge in this trailer, passing on the knowledge of what's going on in Hyrule. You'll see here, your opening shot, which looks very reminiscent of the forest on the Great Plateau. But right here, the implication that there are seasons, at least it seems implied. It's hard to tell because this world is so vast. This could just be two different places. And the quick thing to point out, those are two different trees entirely. You do get a look at some wildlife that we did not see at E3, but we may have seen in prior videos. Specifically, the one I'm thinking of is the Let's Play with Miyamoto and Aonuma at least 2 years ago. And so regardless, we see here more information getting passed on, specifically about the people who live in this world. So, playing the Great Plateau area, we didn't really get to see villagers. We didn't get to see towns at E3. You're seeing them here for the first time. And what you are seeing is that they not only get around, they can fight. At first I could swear I thought that was Link until we looked at it on another machine and we got a really clear look that that is not Link. That these villagers can get around, they do run into bokoblins, and they can get into fights with them. So you might even be riding over a valley and sort of come across something like this. That's big for Zelda because Zelda has rarely, if ever, done scripting like that, where you're going to sort of wander into some of these events. And at E3, we saw a lot of examples of walking into settlements and just seeing, sort of bokoblins gathered around a fire trying to cook. Speaking of which, here's a settlement. Here's the first settlement they show, at least in this trailer. Interestingly enough, take the sort of the horse head off here. This could presumably be a stable or of some kind, or definitely related to horses in some way, or if that's a goat, who knows. But if you cut that part off, the bottom portion looks a lot like the bazaar at Skyloft. And that was in Skyward Sword, which was this big marketplace. Presumably, this is a marketplace. And you'll see here, you saw a dog a second ago. You see that dog again. There are now dogs in the world of The Legend of Zelda. But you see different, sort of inhabitants of this world stopping by this space. So presumably, this is a space to rest, to sell, to buy. That is not Link on horseback. At least it does not appear to be. Based on, it's hard to tell actually. I honestly don't know. If you think it's Link, say that in the comments. If you don't think it's Link, you can say that in the comments too. But just looking around, really wanted to point out too that the villagers of this world seem to carry backpacks as a way to get sort of supplies and things around. And we know that a big part of this game is that open world environment where you're going to be gathering a lot of things. I'm going to assume you can make one of those for Link. Now, I don't 100% know that that's true. But when you think of the volume of things you're going to be carrying around, why not? I mean, we've definitely seen on Epona in prior trailers examples where it looks like you can sort of put a lot, sort of use Epona as a pack mule, for lack of a better way to say it, to carry things around. So who knows? And then here we see for another look at a settlement. Now this one in particular, okay, let me preface this. At E3, we asked series producer Eiji Aonuma, what's up with towns? And he didn't want to say. He didn't want to go into specifics. My big guess is that if the big theme of this Zelda is restoring this world, you may be restoring these villages as you go if you don't stumble upon them outright. One thing for sure is that all of the sort of aspects of growth and of harvesting are a part of this world. It remains to be seen, for example, will that tree grow to the left? I don't know if it goes that far, but you'll definitely be picking those carrots. You'll definitely be pulling, apples from these trees. One interesting aspect will be if this open world is as vast and as important, is are you responsible for setting up settlements or helping restore them? Because restoration seems to be, I mean, you wake up in a resurrection chamber, you activate these resurrection themed spires, and that's restoration seems to be a major theme. Remains to be seen if this is a hint at any of that, but they are showing you what a settlement looks like. Maybe I'm taking that too far. Now, this is where we start getting real high energy here. So first look at your Master Sword on Link's back. That is the classic scabbard that they have been using for the past several 3D Zeldas now. And here you're going to be introduced to a new character, which who is this? I mean, that's the big question. So, in past Zelda games, first of all, Zelda's world and the world of Hyrule is not limited to humans. I mean, if you've played Wind Waker, if you've played prior installments, you know that characters have animal like forms, or some can even shapeshift. The blonde eyebrows say to me that this is possibly a shapeshift, if not a totally original character. Also, the ponytail, which is interwoven with a streak of blonde, is feels like a hint to me. I could be taking this completely the wrong way. Another thing to quickly note is the blue scarf. Blue seems to be the color of heroes in this world. I mean, Link, that's definitely part of his outfit. The earlier slash later outfit we're going to talk about that Zelda was wearing also had that same tone of blue. In the past, Wind Waker had Rito, who was sort of a mailman messenger type character. This definitely doesn't look anything like that. Just look at that bow on its back. One thing for sure is I don't. That's definitely not Link. Link's in the scene. Can Zelda shapeshift? They've played with that idea before with Sheik. Sheik was a transformed version of Zelda, but it wasn't a shapeshift, right? It was just a hidden, secret identity somewhat. I don't know, man. Like you can take the ball and run in a dozen different directions. I feel with this, or it's just a brand new character that you're going to meet. And this character, who also, by the way, looks just like Falco Lombardi, and let's just go back and let's just look at this frame by frame so you can get a look. Green eyes, which to me means probably not Impa. Impa had red eyes, but then again, that could be just semantics. But right here, whoosh, we go off, and we see this big airship, which some folks spotted at E3 already, right? There was something flying around in the air that was not a cloud, and you're getting your first look at it. Another thing to quickly note is it doesn't exactly look like a loft wing, but the wings sort of suggest that, along with the feet. But the sort of the face and the beak don't really look like what I remember loft wings to look like. But regardless, it's a representation, and whatever happens on this thing is a whole nother issue. Could be a big trial for the hero. And here you are reminded of the Guardians, who are these very dangerous creatures that we saw at E3. And whoa, we're going to get ahead of ourselves here, so I just want to go back really quickly here. You're just seeing Link ride up on horseback using his axe to take a swipe at one of the Guardians' legs. Could be a way to immobilize it. We still haven't seen too many ways how we will be sort of engaging this thing, because we weren't allowed to fight them at E3, and I'm honestly dying to fight one. Okay, so this would suggest, just hair alone, you're not seeing a lot, but a female adventurer is part of the story. You want to assume it's Zelda. We want to assume it's Zelda. Going into E3, there were rumors of a playable female character that most assumed was a female Link. I believe Eiji Aonuma shot that down and said, no, there is no playable female Link, which then suggests this is Zelda. I mean, she's also carrying is that the Sheikah Slate, or is that some other sort of important artifact? Like, it's hard to obviously tell, but I hope that she is playable, or that this is either tied to the goddess or to some sort of a playable female adventurer, even for a certain portion of the story. It does not matter to me, but this is very exciting regardless. A more active role, hopefully, than just being someone who you rescue. And then here you see this is Hyrule Castle, and this world has burned. You are shown right here. This is right in front of Hyrule Castle. Now, what gives it away is the trails right here of pink energy. That looks like Calamity Ganon for sure, and this seems to represent the Twilight Princess area castle version of Hyrule Castle. I want to say that because this fountain is identical from that game, which then suggests that Zelda Breath of the Wild is a convergence of, or it's basically the events so far suggest it's from the time. The Zelda timeline says there's a branch where the hero is successful, and it splits into what happens in the adult era, what happens in the child era. Feels like with the Wind Waker tease and then this, they are suggesting that it is that portion of that timeline. And we know that this takes place 100 years after something. Calamity Ganon has been raging for 100 years. We don't know how long. Maybe it's sort of a gap between those worlds. Here we see Link all aglow. Interesting here, this is reminiscent of when Navi, or he would get some sort of like power, obviously, but there's no fairy here. There's no specific fairy as part of it. You see, he's still got the Sheikah Slate. You see, he has his hero's bow and arrow. Pretty much, I don't see anything new there. But then here, I mean, is that Zelda? Is the other one Zelda? We don't know. Maybe they're both Zelda. It's very hard to sort of figure that out. Maybe it's Hilda from A Link Between Worlds. I don't know. But at this point, this trailer has done its job. It has got us very excited for Breath of the Wild. And for everything The Legend of Zelda, you're already in the right place, right here at IGN.